last session we just gone through the syllabus of this entire course. So whatever we are going to discuss about the DevOps with the AWS environment. So in this session, what we are going to do here is let us get a clear picture understanding about clear picture or that complete understanding about the DevOps configurations, and then we will discuss about we will go into the concepts of AWS and Linux. So first things first, what you need to understand. So when we are starting this course, what are the basic configurations that you need to understand? Basic things that you need to do. What are the prerequisites? Okay, so the prerequisites to complete the course here is whenever we are going into the course, basically you need to have a complete understanding about the Linux environment. So what is Linux and how this Linux, what are the different commands that we can use in the Linux environment? And then we need to understand about the DevOps. So including AWS. So we are going with the DevOps with the AWS. So now these are the primary concepts that we are going to cover in this entire session. Okay. So what we can do with these concepts and how we are going to configure these concepts, or else how we are going to understand these concepts. Basically, when we coming into the Linux environment, Linux is an operating system which will be used globally. Every industry, every company across the world are using the Linux environment to run their applications. So Linux has been a very, very crucial part in this environment. But when we come to some people might ask, sir, I am totally into the Windows background. So is it very difficult for me to learn the Linux? Linux is a very, very simpler uh, operating system to use. Basically, you will have not more commands as well as not less commands. It will be very easy. It will be very, very easy for you to learn the concepts. So whatever I want to share with you is that please try to focus on the Linux environment, and then we will go ahead into the concepts of DevOps, and in between that we will try to complete the AWS environment. So what we need to understand here. So first things first, we will be covering the Linux fundamentals. Okay, fundamentals, and then we will be going ahead into the concepts of DevOps directly. Okay, here we will be going directly on to the DevOps. And inside the Linux fundamentals, whenever we are working with that, we will be completing the shell scripting also. Shell scripting. And in DevOps, we will be working with the Git. Okay. And then we will be working with the Docker and then Kubernetes. And then we will go ahead into the concept of Terraform. So when we are about to discuss, once we have completed this Git, Docker, and Kubernetes, here we will start including the AWS environment. So what are the different AWS configurations that we can learn? And we will be introducing the AWS over here. And later we will understand about the Terraform, creating the infrastructure with the help of Terraform. And finally, Ansible and Jenkins. By combining all the tools, we are going to generate the entire infrastructure and as well as the entire end-to-end configuration of an application. And then we'll work with the some application related tools like Maven, SonarQube. So these are the tools that we are going to work with, and in between we'll understand about the Prometheus and Grafana. So basic things what we are going to cover here is first things first, we are going to cover with we will be starting with Linux fundamentals and then shell scripting, and then we will go into the DevOps. In DevOps, we will be discussing about the Git, understanding about the version control system, and then Docker, Kubernetes. And after Kubernetes, we will be working with the AWS environment. So here we will be trying to understand about the Linux fundamentals and as well as the networking concepts also when we are learning the Linux fundamentals, including the networking concepts. So what is network? What is an IP address? What is the network subnets? These are all the concepts that we are going to cover here. So yesterday we discussed about the SDLC lifecycle. that is software development lifecycle and how we can create the softwares and how we are going to work with the software. Again, inside the SDLC, we are having so many concepts related to waterfall model, agile model. There are so many things that we have to cover. We will see in the DevOps when we start the DevOps sessions. There we will see what is this waterfall and what is this agile model. Okay, so as of now, today we will be discussing completely on the Linux environment. Okay, what is this Linux environment? And what is this Linux operating system? What are the different commands that we are having and how to use those commands and how to work with the shell scripting. So today, most probably today, tomorrow also you will have a demo. In both the sessions, we will discuss only about the Linux. And from Monday onwards, we will start the a session. I mean, at the same time, 9:30 we will have a session. On Monday, what we are going to do here is we will be discussing about the shell scripting. We'll start using the shell scripting and advanced Linux commands. So in these two sessions, we will be discussing about the basic Linux commands and the understanding about the Linux. And in the next session onwards, I mean on Monday onwards, those who has enrolled for the course, you are going to get a complete detail about uh, what I can say, advanced Linux commands and as well as the shell scripting components. In shell scripting, again, we will be discussing about the operators, and then we'll be discussing about the special condition statements, special expressions, and special variables will be there. And as well as we'll be discussing about the concepts related to functions will be there. Okay, with all these concepts, we are going to close the shell scripting. So most probably by by 12th, we will try to complete the shell scripting. 12th or 11th, we'll try to complete the shell scripting, and later we will be diving into the concepts of DevOps. So my thought process is that we will start working on the DevOps from the 11th of December, and then we will go full-fledgedly into the GitHub, and then Docker and Kubernetes. By January mid, January mid or January end, we will try to complete the up to Docker and Kubernetes. And then we'll start from January 20th, we'll start working on the AWS. And by February mid or February end, we will try to complete the complete AWS. And by March 15th, we will close the batch. So December, January, February, most probably 3 months. Within 3 months, we want to, I'm planning to close this batch. So let's see what is going to happen. So I gave you the tentative dates also. The tentative dates to close this batch will be February mid. Okay, so that is the tentative date. Right. So now let us dive into the concepts here. So what are the concepts that we need to understand in the Linux environment? First of all, how this Linux environment got into the industry, IT industry, and why everyone are using this Linux environment, and what is the base for this? Okay. So whenever we are discussing about the Linux environment, first things you need to understand in 1970s, at that particular old time, there are two persons called as Ken Thompson, Ken Thompson, and Dennis Ritchie. Dennis Ritchie. So I hope you know at least one name here. Anyone from the CSE background? Anyone from CSE background? Anyone learn about the C language? Okay, no
Yes, sir.
problem.
Danish Richie.
Yeah, Dennis Ritchie is the father of the C language. So these two persons combined, and they have done some experiments in Dell Labs. In Bell Labs, and they have generated a new operating system called as Unix. Okay, with the help of multiple students and multiple postgraduates, so they have generated a new operating system called as Unix. And you know about Unix, right? Like AX, Sun, Solaris. These are all the flavors of the Unix. But they have made a decision that we want to provide the Unix for completely premium version, which means that whoever wants to access the Unix operating system, they needs to pay for that. They need to purchase the operating system. So then what happened? There is a person called as Richard Stallman. So what this person has done here is Richard Stallman thought that Richard Stallman. This is there is a person, and he started to oppose this. Why he started means already we are purchasing the computer, already we are purchasing the computer hardware. Then again, why I need to purchase the operating system? What is the necessity of purchasing this operating system? So I want this operating system to be full of free version. He started opposing that. So, and then he started creating his own operating system in 1985, 86 at that time. He started his own operating system called as GNU. There is no full form that. He himself will say that there are so many interviews you can check out in the YouTube also with the name called as Richard Stallman, the generator of GNU. He himself said that I don't want to generate this operating system. I don't want to use this Unix operating system. I can generate my own operating system. He started working on GNU and he developed the entire front end and everything is fine. But for an operating system, the backbone is for a OS, the backbone is kernel. Without kernel, the operating system will not work properly. So he failed to generate that kernel. So he started working on the kernel, but he failed to generate that. But in 1991, there is a person called as Linus Torvalds who has developed this operating system called as Linux. Okay, this is not an operating system in general, it's an kernel, and they have attached this Linux kernel to the GNU, and they started creating a new operating system called as GNU Linux. Okay, so this is the first Linux operating system flavor which has enrolled into the IT industry as a freeware. So they gave this operating system source code as a free and open source. Okay, everyone can modify this source code and they can prepare their own operating system. So like that, the Linux has came into the picture. Once Linux has came into the picture, everyone are started using that. And as it is a free version, and then there are some enhancements has been done inside the operating system, and special features has been included into that. And some major companies like Red Hat has given the partnership into that, and they developed their own operating system called as RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux Environment. And Ubuntu has introduced their own flavors. Debian has introduced their own flavors like Debian operating system, Ubuntu operating system, Kali operating system, and there are so many distributions are there. So in Linux environment, we are having so many distributions. If you see Fedora, CentOS, Amazon Linux, Linux, every these flavors will come under a single category. And when you come to Debian, Ubuntu, and Kali Linux, these are all coming into a one category. Parrot Linux is there, Mint Linux is there, Arc Linux is there, and then SUSE Linux is there, SUSE Enterprise Linux is there. Like that, so many flavors. Somewhere like some 5,000 distributions are there across the world. Currently, there are more than 5,000 distributions of Linux environments are there. Most probably, the operating system backend is the same, but only the commands and the package managers are different. But everything will be the same. Rest of the things are the same. So like that, the Linux operating system has came into the picture. Now, what are the benefits of this Linux operating system? It's a freeware, which means that you don't need to purchase it, and it is open source. So open source and freeware both are different. Freeware means which is freely available, the operating system which is freely available. Open source means the source code is available to everyone. So if you are having a knowledge on operating systems and if you have knowledge on C language or else understanding about the coding, so then you can simply download that operating system and you can make the modifications inside the operating system and you can generate your own operating system. So that is what we call it as open source. So the next one is in Linux, we are having some enhanced security features are there. Enhanced security is available. We are having SC Linux, security enhanced Linux is also available, which means that multi-factor security. Okay, so whenever you want to access any file, so SC Linux will be enabled or disabled. SC Linux is going to put some security on that particular application. So like that, you will be having multiple layers of security is available. And at the same time, if you want to run an server, if you want to run a server, so you can run the server without rebooting or else without stopping the server even for 5 to 10 years also. If you start the server today, you install the operating system called as, I mean, any Linux operating system inside the server, and you can run the server without any disturbances for minimum 5 to 10 years. Okay, you don't need to shut down the server. So in Windows environment, we have a problem. What is the problem means whenever there are updates are available in Windows, if we have the updates, then we need to reboot the server to apply the updates. To apply the updates, we need to reboot the server. But in Linux environment, it is not like that. If you are doing any OS patching or else any updates are available, you don't need to reboot the server to update to apply the changes. Okay, so directly without any reboot, also the servers will be running. I mean, the updates will be applied on the servers. So this is the main concept why major number of the companies are going with the Linux environment. So, and not only that, see, Linux can be accessed only with the professionals only. So if you are a professionalized student, then only you can access the Linux. If you know the commands, then only you can access the Linux. Why? Because majority number of the cases, Linux will be of the CLI, command line interface. With the commands only, you can access the server. For example, if you want to list out the files inside the Linux environment, you are going to give a command called as ls. If you want to create a directory, mkdir. If you want to remove a directory, rmdir or else rm. If you want to navigate from one directory to the another directory, cd. So like that, what is going to happen? Multiple commands will be there. So for the professionals, for the people who knows about the commands, they only can access the Linux environment. But if you see the Windows environment is totally graphical user interface. Even a small child can access the Windows operating system. Just to open the computer, inside the computer, you will have the folders. You can open the folders, you can look into everything. So the security in Windows is a little bit compromised than the security is very high in the Linux operating system. You cannot find that security in the Windows operating system, and only professionals can access that. Okay, so this is the main advantage with the Linux, and why majority number of the companies are going with the Linux is that because of all these above factors. Okay, so that is the main concepts of why we want to go for the Linux environment. Is that clear? Any questions? Somebody is trying to ask something. Any questions, guys? Abhishek, I think you are attending to all my sessions, huh? Only the demos. Is Abhishek is there?
Yes, Chaitanya actually attend a few, but due to office timing change, that's why I not continue that. But now
No,
this timing is 12, so I will be joining this batch.
fine. Okay, that's fine. Chandu, any questions from your side? Himabindu, Mahendra, Vinay, Sunil, Shiva, anything you want to
It's
ask, you can ask.
it's clear, Chaitanya.
Okay. Now, let us understand now we have a clear picture of Linux environment, how it has been evolved and how we are using that. And now the thing is, what are the different commands that we can use in the Linux environment? So many people will say that pwd, ls, and everything, but we are also in the same route only. So if you want to access any Linux servers, first of all, we need to create the server. Let us create the server in the AWS environment. Okay, you will come to know how to create the server in the AWS environment in the upcoming sessions. But as of now, EC2 instances, and I'm going to create a server here. So this is my Linux server. I can go with the Ubuntu environment, or else if you want, you can go with the Red Hat also. T3 micro is fine, and keypair will be the how we are going to create. If you are having, see, in Windows environment also, you can use the Linux commands. How in Windows we have a concept called as WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux is there. Okay, if it is installed on your computer, okay, so you can use the uh, this Linux flavor. For example, WSL hyphen hyphen install Ubuntu. I think, yeah. So directly on Windows, we are using WSL platform to run the Ubuntu operating system inside my Windows itself, and I can execute the commands. You don't need to create the servers like this. Simply what you can do, I mean, just for the demo purpose, I'm telling you this. Okay. So again, if you want to check out the commands and all the things, simply what you can do here is, in nowadays in every computer, you please check in your computer? Can you please open the PowerShell and check that WSL is available or not? Go to the PowerShell, WSL hyphen hyphen version. So it is going to show you like this. Can you please check out? Nowadays, every computer is having this WSL.
It's available on my machine.
It is there now. So see, we have to gain the knowledge by spending less amount. For that reason, if you want to go with the concept of, I mean, understanding the Linux basic commands, you don't need to create the servers in the AWS environment. You don't need to create a specialization server. So simply what you can do here is, you can use the WSL and create the Ubuntu flavor on your Windows itself. Okay. So this is how you have to install the Ubuntu flavor on the Windows with the help of WSL. And later what you have to do here is, you can run the commands. What are the commands that you want to see, you can see it out. Okay. And later we can quit from that particular system, or else we can uninstall that, or else we can remove that. So this is the basic advantage which we are having right now with the WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. And this feature is really required for running the Docker. So if you want to install the Docker on your Windows environment, we require the WSL to be installed on the kernel level. Hmm. Okay, so now it is installing. Let it install. Hmm.
How much memory it takes up if you have to install it?
If you have 4 GB is minimum enough for running the Windows and as well as for running your Ubuntu environment. So create a default Unix user account. The user account, I will make it as Chaitanya, and the password. So there you go. So this is my uh, Linux environment, PWD. Okay. And then what I can do here is sudo su hyphen. Okay. So right now I just logged as a root user. I want to change my system name here. So this is not affecting my Windows operating system. Just I'm going to change the system name. So the system name is hostname CTL. Set hyphen hostname is Linux server. And exit and relog in into this. So when you relog in, it will happen. So this is how you can use your Linux environment. And then what you can do over here is, you can run the commands. So what are the commands that I want to run? So before we go into the commands and understanding the commands, let us understand a concept called as, what is this kernel, what is this operating system, and then what is the difference between shell, what is meant by terminal. So these are all the basic understanding which you need to have. Okay, so now, for example, if I say kernel, okay, what is this kernel is all about? So let us start with understanding the operating system. What is meant by an operating system? So everyone will know about this. It's a basic thing. For example, there is a user. Okay, there is a user and who wants to access the computer. So for example, you go to a computer shop and you purchase a computer, you put the computer in your home. And if you want to install any feature or else any application inside this computer, definitely what you need to have directly with the computer components or computer parts, you cannot communicate. The user cannot communicate. So for that reason, what we need to have here is we need to have an operating system inside the computer. Okay, whatever the physical devices that we have purchased inside that physical devices, we need to have an operating system. So this operating system will be helpful for interacting with the system hardware. Okay, so here you will have the operating system. Now, when the user is there, when user turns on the computer, now the user is there, the user will turn on the computer and he will try to pass some orders. So, for example, if I want to log in, I will provide the user credentials. I want to open the notepad or else I want to open the paint application. So I need to run certain commands. So the user will be directly interacting with the operating system. So now what operating system will do? So operating system, everyone will say the same command, same thing. Operating system is an physical or else operating system is an interface between the user and to my computer hardware. Simply, this is the definition. But in between computer hardware and the operating system, there is a component called as kernel. So kernel is there in between the operating system and the computer hardware. So what is the functionality of this kernel? Kernel is responsible for any management. For example, I want to open an paint application in operating system. I will click on paint. Now, if this application has to open, so this application requires some CPU, RAM, and storage. These are the primary things, primary resources which are requested by each and every application. So to run the application, we need to have CPU, RAM, and storage. So who will provide that CPU? So this application should be running with this particular amount of CPU, with this particular amount of RAM. So who will do that? Who will manage that process management, memory management, disk management, network management? All these things can be done by your kernel. So that's why when I say when the Richard Stallman failed to create the kernel, he failed to generate the operating system. So until Linus Torvald has given the kernel for him, the operating system has not came into the picture. Why? Because kernel is that much important. If you want to run any application, definitely you need to have the kernel. Without kernel, the management will not happen. Memory management will not happen. Process management will not happen. So to run the application, we need to have the kernel in the background. So this kernel will communicate with the hardware. So the user want to open a particular application, you need to provide this much amount of CPU. You need to provide this much amount of RAM. So the kernel is the key component for interacting between the application and the hardware. Okay. So this is what we call it as a kernel. And the next one is terminal. What is meant by terminal? Terminal is an application which is open to execute the commands. Okay, here you can see I'm executing certain commands now. So when I give pwd, here you can see we are using a command. So where we are opening a PowerShell. This PowerShell is a terminal. In Mac also we are having terminal. Terminal is nothing but an application. For example, if I open putty or putty, so this is a terminal. So terminal is just an application on which we can write the commands. For example, I am writing the command ls. Okay, so this command is written on the terminal. When we write the command on the terminal, when I hit enter, okay, when I hit enter, ls-la, it is going to display the number of files. So how these files are getting displayed? So now whenever I give any command and when I hit enter, there will be a shell. Okay, there will be a shell which will be transferring the commands which are given on the Linux terminal to my kernel, and kernel will forward the terminal to the hardware, and the hardware will process that particular command and gives the response back to the user on the terminal. So if you see the shell image, you will understand this. Look at that. So utilities, shell, kernel, and hardware. So whenever the user gives the command, okay, so these commands will be taken by the shell, and shell will provide that to the kernel. Now what kernel will do? Kernel will forward that to the hardware, and the hardware will execute the configuration and provides the output onto the terminal. So this is the hierarchy. Okay. So we are giving a cat command. So I want to read certain files. So here you can see bash rc is there. Cat dot bash rc. When I give this cat dot bash rc, so it is going to display the data inside that particular file. Cat is a command which is to helpful for displaying the content of a particular file on the terminal. So like that, I am using the cat command, grep command, wc, word count command. So like that, we are having so many commands that are going to be executed. So whenever I give this command, there are multiple shells. So we will be using the bash shell. So if you see here, if I give echo $shell, what is the present shell that we are using? I mean, inside this operating system, we are using the bin bash. So this is the shell which we are using. Bash means burn again shell. If you want to use the shell as sh, you can use the shell as sh also. And then sh is there. Sh means burn shell, or else I will call it as a shell. So it is burn again shell, which is having the advanced commands. In shell, you will have the basic commands. And then you are having CSH, KSH, corn shell. Like that, you are having different kinds of shells that are available. But for Windows, but for the Ubuntu operating system or else any Red Hat operating system, we are going to use the burn again shell, bash shell. And then kernel. So what this kernel is going to do? So when this shell collects the information, the kernel will identify what is this? What is this command? So this command, whether it is for the device management, file system management, or also anything. So it is going to allocate certain memory and process with the by communicating with the hardware. So this is how the commands will be executed. And this is what we call it as shell and terminal. Terminal is just an application to write the commands. Shell is the interpreter between the terminal and the hardware. So whatever the command that we have given, that will be carried out by the shell, and it will be executing the command with the help of kernel and hardware. So this is the concept of your shell. Okay. So now let us go with the basic commands. Okay. So up to now it is clear now how we are going to execute the commands. What are the different terminologies that you need to understand? Any questions over here? Any questions? Do you understand the topic or not?
Yes, I understood, sir.
Okay. Right. So here you can see shell is an interface that allows the users to communicate with the kernel. So simple. Now let us discuss about the PWD, commands used in the shell language, PWD. So what is this PWD? PWD is a command which is helpful for you to get the present working directory of a user. So currently, for example, if I give PWD, where user is located, where user is running this command. For example, here, if I try to create a directory, dir test directory. So cd test directory, I will go inside that. Now, if you see the present working directory, There is root directory. Inside the root directory, there is a test directory is there. So you need to understand the Linux directory architecture. So you need to understand the Linux directory architecture. What is this Linux directory architecture? So in Linux, basically when you open the Linux operating system, by default you will be in the slash directory. So this is called as root directory. In the Linux operating system, the first directory is the root directory. That is slash. Okay. Inside this root directory, so try to understand this is the root directory. Root directory is different. Root users directory is different. There is the root directory. Here you can see cd slash. Inside this root directory. So right now we are inside the root directory. Now this is called as a prompt. Whatever you are seeing here, this is called as a prompt. What is the prompt represent here? So if you see the prompt will have the current user logged in. So the user who is logged in into the server is root user. Into which server he has logged in. So whatever you are seeing here, this is the name of the server. So into the Linux server, the user has logged in. And here you can see after colon, whatever you are seeing here, that is the directory location. For example, if I give like this, cd root and test. So if you see, right now the user is in the home directory, tilde. This is called as whatever you are seeing here, the wave symbol. That wave symbol is called as tilde. So this wave symbol is called as tilde. So what does this tilde represent? Tilde represents that it is the home directory of the user. Okay, home directory. For every user, there will be a home directory. For example, let us take the Linux environment like your home. Okay, inside your home, you will be having so many rooms. You will have hall, kitchen, bedrooms. So for example, if there are two bedrooms are there, one is the master bedroom and the other one is the normal child's or else guest bedroom is there. So in these two bedrooms, master bedroom is given to your parents and you have your separate bedroom. So now that's the room where you can store your stuff. You can store your what I can say clothes. You can store your books. You can have your computer. So the whatever the that is your home. Actually, inside the home you have your separate home. Like that room is yours. So you can put all your books, all your digital equipment, all your computers and everything. So which means that that a private space for you. So in the same manner, whenever we are working with the Linux environment, in the Linux environment, every user will have his own home directory. So the home directory represents the directory where the user can store his personal data. So that is called as home directory. Right now, if you see this prompt, we are logged as a root user. So in Linux, there are two kinds of users are there. One is the root user and the other one is the standard user. So root user is like an administrator or else the head of that entire Linux operating system. So root user is the main user of the Linux operating system. If you want to do any changes, if you want to install anything, so everything can be done with the help of root permissions only. Without the root permissions, you cannot do anything. If you want to install anything, especially if you want to make the changes in the operating system, definitely you need to have the permissions from the root user. And then there will be standard users. The users which are created in the Linux environment, they are called as standard users. For example, I am creating a user account. So that's a standard user account. You can convert a standard user into an administrator, but not as a root user. Okay. So this is what saying. So the user who has logged in into the system and into which system he is logged in and into which current directory he is working out. And this hash symbol is only displayed for the root user, not for every user. The hash symbol will be displayed. Even though the user is into the administrators, the hash symbol will not be displayed for the other users. So only for root user, you can see the hash symbol. So this is the prompt in your Linux environment. Whatever you are seeing, this is the prompt. So currently the user is logged in into your Linux operating system is the root user and he logged in into your Linux server. Current working directory is the root user's home directory Inside that, we are having the test directory. So if you run the command pwd, here you can see root directory, and inside that you are having the test directory. So here you can see now there is a slash symbol. In the beginning, you are having a slash symbol. This slash symbol represents the home directory or else the main directory of your Linux environment, nothing but the root. Okay. So this is root directory. Slash means root directory. Then what is slash root? Slash means root directory. Then what is slash root? Slash root is nothing but the root users directory. Okay. So here you can say slash root means root users directory. So which means that inside this slash, we are having so many directories. We are having the bin directory is there. What is this bin directory going to do? Can anybody tell me what is meant by a bin directory? Any idea about the bin directory? What is meant by bin? Whether it is a recycle bin?
Binary?
Binary, yes. Bin means binary directories. What is meant by a binaries? Binaries, you might be hearing these words, no? So we need to have an application binaries. What is meant by a binary?
Computer understandable forms like zeros and ones.
The simply I can call it as compiled code. So what is meant by compiling? In the engineering, you might be hearing about these words. Compiling, converting the user understandable language into the computer understandable language is called as compiling. If I am not wrong, correct me if I am wrong. Okay. So compiling means converting the user understandable language into the computer understandable language is called as compiling. Okay, so whatever the compiled binaries are there, all those binaries are stored inside the bin directory. For example, if I want to run the pwd command is there, pwd, or else ls, or else mkdir, or else rmdir. If I give any commands, all these commands are available inside the bin directory. If you see cd/bin, inside the bin directory, you are having so many commands. So you will be having the ls command is also there inside the bin directory. So these are all the executable commands. There you go. ls is there. So this is the binary. When we run the ls command, it is going to list out the computer. I mean, whatever the files that are there inside your directory. And if you see here, there is one more command called as pwd will also be there. There you go. PWD is also there. Print working directory. If I run that command. So whatever the commands that you are running, all the commands are available inside the bin directory. So when you execute a command, if the command is not there in the bin directory, it is going to give me an output. What is the output that it is going to provide? See here. For example, data. See that? Or else, for example, what I can do here is test. So test, what is test? Test, there is no command. For example, I want to know the list of the files, or else first I want to know the date and I want to know the list of the files. So for that, what I can do, there is a command called as date. So it is going to show you the current date and time. Okay, so this command is available inside the binary directory cd bin cd/bin. Here you can see we are having the date command. There you go. Date command is there. Okay. So when you execute the date command, so it is going to display the date and time. For example, I want to run all these commands in a single run. So what I want to do here is I want to run this command like this. What is the command? The command is uh, echo hello world. So what is echo command? Echo command will display the command that we have, display the string which we have provided inside this double quotation on the terminal. It is going to write the string which we have provided in the double quotations. So when I say echo hello, it is going to give me the hello as an output. So, and then what I want to do here is there is another command called as read name. So I will give the name as Chaitanya. Okay. So when I say echo $name, so it is going to display like this. So this is the variables. So let us understand what is what. For example, if I want to run multiple commands at a time, for that I can write a script. So I'm going to write the script like this. Nano welcome. So this is the file which I want to create. So what is nano? We will come to know in the upcoming sessions, but as of now, look at here. So what is the basic shell that we are going to use? We will be using the shell called as bin bash. Bash is the shell. So that is what we are using in the beginning only. I have said you about this. For example, I want to please enter the name. So I'm giving like this. So then echo will display the same command on the terminal. So here I will give read name. Okay, read the name. Name is the variable. Now what is meant by a variable? Here you got another word, another new word called as variable. So now what is meant by variable? Can anybody tell me what is meant by variable? If I say x is equal to 10, what is x called here? In general mathematics, we will use this, no? X is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, z is equal to x plus y. So if I say like this, for example, x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, and z is equal to x plus y. So now what is the value of z? If I ask you like this, what you are going to tell?
X is a variable and those are the values, whatever we are assigning.
That is fine. So, which means that X means a variable. What is a variable? Variable is a storage where it can store the data. So inside the variable, I can store the data. I can save 10 inside X. Or else if I say X is equal to Chaitanya. Okay. So then inside X, I'm able to store the value. So when in the left hand side, whatever you are seeing, it is called as a variable. And in the right hand side, whatever you are seeing, it is called as a value. So in general, variables are the storage places where you can store the values. Either it might be numeric values, or else it might be strings, or else it might be characters. So here, what is name? Name is nothing but a variable. So inside the name, what I want to pass? So see here, echo welcome $name. When I give like this, then what is going to happen means whatever the name that we have provided, then that is going to be readed by this script that will display welcome Chaitanya, welcome whatever the name that you have provided. And then what is my requirement? I want to know the date. So when I execute this as a script, see here, we have a file called as welcome file is there. Now what I can do, bash welcome. When I give this command, it will ask me to give the name. For example, I will give the name as Shiva. So here you can see welcome Shiva, and it is displaying today's date. So if I want to run the multiple commands at a single go, then I can run a script over here. Now what I can do here is right now the script doesn't have the execution permission. So here you are getting so many things. What are these permissions? So why I am telling you this? Because in this simple example, you will come to know what are the topics that we are going to cover. So we have to cover the permissions. Okay, we need to cover the permissions topic. We need to understand how the commands will be executed. For example, I am going to provide the executable permission for this welcome command. How we will be getting that and how we are going to provide the permissions, we will see in the upcoming sessions. But as of now, chmod 755 welcome. So when I give this, now that welcome script will have the executable permissions. What is this 755? You will have a question here. So what is this chmod? What is the double five? What is meant by permissions? Previously he has given chown like that. There are so many things will be coming into your mind. So all these questions will be slowly answered. We are going to get the answers slowly. So you need to understand what bin is going to do. Right now, when I give welcome, it is going to tell you command not found. I am unable to find the command. What Linux is saying. So whatever the command that you have given, welcome, I am unable to find it. But we are having this executable script over here. Here you can say welcome is there. Now what I will do here is move welcome to /bin directory. When I move welcome to the bin directory, if you see welcome, it is executed. So when I say enter your name, Kumar, see that welcome Kumar, and it is displaying the date. So which means that now whatever the executable file that is there in the normal directory, when I give the command, it is going to tell you command not found. Where is it? Yeah. So here you can see it is saying that command not found. But when I move the command to the bin directory and execute the command, or else execute that particular shell script, it is executing. So what is the main difference? We are using in the current directory and it is not working. When I move it to the bin directory, we are able to execute it. Why we are able to execute it? What is the reason behind that? You will come to know in the upcoming sessions, because we have to understand about the path variable, path configuration. So in general, what is bin directory? Bin directory is a directory where we will have the binaries stored. Inside the bin directory, we will have the binaries stored. And there will be a device directory, dev directory will be there. So I hope you understand about the bin directory. Any questions here? Do you understand what is bin directory? In the upcoming sessions, you will get to know about all the permissions, user creations, and everything. But as of now, we are in the general understanding about the Linux directory architecture. Okay. So in that, do you understand the bin directory? Inside the bin directory, we will have all the executable commands. Okay. And then in the root directory, we are having one more directory called as boot directory. Boot means the directory which will have the bootable files. So inside this boot directory, we will have all the bootable files. And then we are having etc directory, dev directory is there. So what is this dev directory? Dev directory means it's a device directory. So inside this, we will have the device information. What is the CPU? What is the RAM related information and disk space related information? Everything will be there inside the dev directory. For example, you want to know the disk space. So how you can know about that? LSBLK or else df-h. So like that, we are having certain commands. So if you see here, there is 2 GB of SDC is there. So this disk space will be, so you can come to know about the disk space, which is available inside the dev directory. Here you can see inside /dev, we are having SDD, which is of somewhere like 1000 GB. Okay, 1000 GB is there, which is of /dev SDD. So it is giving me the information about my SDD. Okay. And inside that, we are having C drive, D drive. This is about the Windows configuration, which we are having. So the dev directory will have the information about my hard disk, which is created. So this is about your dev directory. And the next one is there is another directory called as etc directory is there. What is this etc directory? Again, under / you are having the etc directory. etc is a directory where the configuration files are stored. Whenever you create an application, the application related configuration files, all the configuration files are stored in the etc directory. And there is another directory called as home directory. What is this home directory? This is the directory where the actual user's home directory will be stored. For example, when I create a user called as Chaitanya, so the Chaitanya's home directory will be created inside this home directory. So home directory is a directory where the user home directories are going to be created. It's a separate directory. If you see here, the meaning is that, again, don't get confused here, /home. Inside /home, we will be having a directory called as Chaitanya's directory. There is a user and the user is created. So for example, if I create a user add -m Kumar. So previously inside the home directory, we are having only one directory called as Chaitanya directory. When I create the user Kumar, what is going to happen? Let's see. So here you can see another directory is generated. What is that? Kumar directory. So when you create a user, automatically for that user, his personal directory will be created. So where it is going to be created, the user's personal directory will be created inside the home directory. So home is the name of the directory. Inside the home directory, in the sense, the directory which is having the name called as home, inside that directory, we are going to have the user's personal directories, nothing but the home directories. So this is called as your home directory. Like that, we are having so many another directories, which we are going to discuss in the next session. So in this session, what we have discussed. So let us get to a clear-cut understanding. In this session, we discussed about the Linux history and how to run the Linux distribution in your Windows environment. And then we have seen the directory architecture, and then we have created a command and try to execute that. So we try to execute that. These are all the concepts that we have covered in this session. So in the next session, we will be going into the very basic commands of your Linux environment. What is meant by PWD? There is another command called as who am I. So if you want to know the user which you have logged in, so you can simply give the command who am I. So like that, you can run the commands. So there are so many another basic commands that we are going to understand in the next session. As of now, I'm stopping it here. Any questions related to this session, you can ask me now.
So we started with a module 2, right? So as per the course content, so module 1 was DevOps fundamentals and culture. So we started with Linux system administration, right?
I did not specify module 2 and module 1. So DevOps, see, first basically you need to understand the Linux. So that's the module 1. And later we will go into the DevOps. That's the module 2. Understanding about the rest of the configuration related to the software development lifecycle. These are all comes under the module 2 only.
Okay.
Here there is no, I mean, whatever the syllabus that you are having, everything will be covered. It
Okay.
might be depending on how we have to go, what are the new way to go into the concepts. I will be changing the order. So don't
Okay.
follow
I
that
got you.
order. Okay.
I got you.
Right.
So 1 hour class every day or
Every day you will have 1 hour of session.
okay.
Depending on the topic. Again,
Okay. 3 months duration, right?
3 months duration.
Okay.
If there is a
How many classes
possibility,
got over?
yesterday only we have started. This is the
Okay.
second demo.
Okay.
And if there is any possibility, once we have into the concepts, once we are very, very good into the subject, I will ask you if there is any possibility. Let us see, we can have 2 classes in a session if possible. If possible, I'm not saying that yesterday only I said you, it is not possible to cover the entire concepts in a single day. Okay. So simultaneously, see, some institute maybe, I mean, maybe in my institute also there might be a chance that you can learn DevOps in parallel with AWS. So I don't recommend that. That's why I said you the syllabus is of 3 months. Let's see what we can do in between that. If there is any possibility that the students can understand the topic, I will ask you to attend 2 sessions in a day. I am not. Uh, I'm trying this for the first time. Okay, for the first time in the sense. Previously, whenever I take the DevOps class with AWS, I used to take the class in a single 1 day, 1 session. So I just got a thought, can we take 2 sessions in a day? So if there is any possibility, I need to discuss it with my management and I have to come to you. But as of now, as of my planning is, I want to cover one batch per 1 day. I mean, 1 hour per 1 day. In that fashion, we are going ahead. If there is any possibility, like some people will be in a hurry. Sir, I want to complete the batch by within 2 months or else within 3 months. So for them, I am saying. So we can complete it by 3.5 months. But if there is any possibility, we will try to commit as earlier by taking 2 sessions in a day. Sir, I don't have any problem. Let us go very slow in the sense, let us go so that we can able to understand everything. We will have a single class. So my agenda is to take a single class only per day. I don't know. Some people will be there for them. I'm thinking of not from this batch. This batch will be a single class per day, but I'm thinking of going in that fashion. Let's see. Okay. Okay. I don't want to confuse you. The session will be from 9:30 to 10:30.
Okay.
Make it like that.
So this is
Okay.
DevOps plus AWS.
Yes, DevOps plus AWS.
Okay. Clear. So, and
Right.
the recordings will be uploaded in the
Every day you are going to get the recordings through your Google Drive. You will have the documentation, whatever the concepts that we have covered. Every concept will have its own documentation. I will provide it to you on the
Okay.
Google Drive only. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Any prerequisite before going to this course, or like do you
No.
need to learn any? Okay.
No, nothing. If you have hands-on experience on computer, that's more than enough. What is a computer? What components will be there inside the computer, and how we can work with the computer. If you know that, that's more than enough. No prerequisites are there.
Okay. Like I have another query. Like I am from Java background. Like will it be useful to add in my resume?
Yeah, it is very much useful for you. Why?
Okay.
Because
So
nowadays every developer should have the full stack understanding. They should know about the servers. They should know about how to deploy the applications. Especially when we are working with a product-based company, they are requesting every employee to have the full stack knowledge. So this is very helpful for you in that perspective.
this will come
Got
over
it?
deployment phase, right? Like developing the application, this will be coming in deployment phase. Like whichever we are learning.
No, everything will coming under. See, as a developer, you will be using the Git, right? For pushing the
Yeah.
code into the GitHub, versioning and all things. So in the DevOps, the first stage itself is a Git. Okay, so you will have a full-fledged knowledge on Git. What is meant by Git pull, Git rebase, Git merge. So these are all the concepts we are going to cover here. Okay, so that will be into the developer perspective only. And then if you want to run an application, so how we can run the application? So through the Docker, how we can run how we can create the application and run the application, environment dependency. As a developer, you might be facing so many issues like when you create an application and submit the application to the system administrator or else to the deployment person, he will say that the application is not running on the computer, and he will give it back to you. In your computer, it will be running. So that is what dependencies will be there. So the dependencies will be acceptable in your computer. The same dependencies will not be accepting the configuration in the another computer because of the plugins and all the things. So how we can make an application platform independent? So that will come in the Docker. So with the Docker, and then we will have the Kubernetes. So all the topics will be in the both the perspectives, not only with the deployment perspective, but also in the developer perspective. Also, we will be discussing about the topics. Okay.
Yeah. And will there be any AI impact here? Like we will be having any like
As
in
of
future
now,
develop? Yeah.
no. As of now, we don't have any AI impact over there. But in the future, we can introduce some of the AI tools. But right now, we are not going with any AI tool.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
Sir, AI means with AI through AI we are going to develop, sir. That means exactly.
No. AI, see, AI is for understanding the tools. Okay, not with the development phase. For example, suddenly I got an issue. How to overcome this issue? That we can see with the AI. Okay. In future, you might get anything with the AI. The development is also can be done with the AI by learning the continuous progressive things, or else to make the AI machines to learn about the things. Then we can
Okay,
make
sir.
AI to develop the configuration. But right now, we are not using AI in the DevOps. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Yeah.
Right.
So it will be just support tool, right? Like if any issues, we can debug that in any
Yeah.
Copilot like this. Yeah.
Yes. AI we can ChatGPT or else Gemini, any another AI tools like in Microsoft we have Copilot.
Okay.
they will be used as a supportive tool right now. Maybe in the upcoming years, it might be overtaking the entire IT industry, but as of now, it is just a supportive tool.
Okay. Because I heard something like Azure something, so I just want to check is there any impact in this AWS?
No. In AWS also, we have the artificial intelligence which is taking over. But as of now, if there is a possibility, I will try to include about that. Okay. A few concepts like SageMaker is there, and those are the machine learning techniques in AWS. But right now, it is not at full-fledgedly configured. If there is any possibility, I will include that.
Sure.
Got it? Right.
Sir, yesterday I spoke with the DURGASOFT, sir, actually. Yeah, regarding this is Venkat, actually. So, till this month and January 5th, actually, I have some meeting at 9 to 10, sir, that time.
Okay.
And I will miss the AWS classes. Can I attend different batch? I actually, I paid some amount for the Terraform morning Jenkins. So, I will pay the rest of the amount, sir, for this one. I want to continue. But I can attend AWS.
One thing, Venkat, if you want only AWS, we have right now here also we are not starting with the AWS.
Okay, sir. Okay.
We are having I am having a different plan for this batch. Okay. So we are not planning with the AWS. We are planning with the DevOps, Linux DevOps, and in between we will be putting the AWS. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay.
for AWS, if you want to learn only AWS, we are having a separate batch.
No,
so
sir.
that-
I want to continue this one complete to DevOps with AWS. Yeah, but few classes I will miss, sir, till sometime actually by this month
Few
end.
classes in the sense we will be talking only about the Linux for the next week. And then we
Okay,
will
sir.
go ahead into the DevOps. Okay. So whenever it is possible, you can join. Once it is completed by 9:45, or you can join through the your mobile phones also. The point is,
Okay, sir.
by 10 o'clock, if you are able to complete your office, then only you can
Okay, sir.
join right away. You can join into the batch, right?
Okay, sir.
So
Yeah.
you will get the videos also. So if there is any missing, if you miss anything, you can go through the video so that you can clear out the, and you can
Okay, sir.
ask me.
Okay, sir. Okay. What is the first one? Linux. After Linux, what is the second one, sir?
Linux, we will be discussing about the networking components, and then we will go ahead into the DevOps, and then starting with the Git, Docker,
Okay, sir.
Kubernetes, and Terraform. In that fashion, we will be going. Okay.
The last one AWS, sir. Last one
Yeah.
AWS.
Before Terraform, we will discuss about the AWS.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Got it, sir.
Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, are we going to do any projects also after this one? After the course, end of the course?
Yeah. If you want, I can provide you a project. What is that?
Okay.
Right.
Okay, sir.
Right, guys. So that's it from my end. So we'll meet in the next session and discuss about the rest of the Linux command. Those who are interested in joining the course, please enroll yourself so that you can get an major benefits of this particular course. So have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you all.